Benjamin Franklin said what? Now, as we proceed, just want to start it off with a short recap of how we got to this point. Now, because many try to ambiguate what Benjamin Franklin clearly said, I'm going to now ground this first in the dictionary definition and then in empirical scientific data. And this is recent data for those who like to ambiguate information saying, oh, it's, pre-2025, pre-whatever. This is 2025 that I'm going to present. But let's first examine the current dictionary definition of the word, and then we'll ground it in scientific data. So, as you can clearly see, swarthy means dark colored complexion or cast. The synonyms and antonyms of the word. The synonyms of the word are black, brunette, dark, or swart. Okay? So this is consistently dark complexion. Let's move on to the scientific data. All right, so here we go. This is the first article. All right, you can clearly see here it was published March 20th, 2025, which was just over a year ago. The title reads, discovered that most Europeans had dark skin as recently as 3,000 years ago. Now, the second article that I'm going to present is going to give you a much more recent figure, but I just wanted to demonstrate that there are two significant articles who are basically not just suggesting that proven through excavation of remains in ancient Europe, that ancient Europe was dark skinned and what they're calling black. Now here you have a photo of Cheddar Man. Now Cheddar Man is significant, and I'm gonna show you why, and we'll come back to this. In one of my past presentations, I mentioned this in association with the fact that Black Americans carry a West Eurasian signal that is ancestral to contemporary Europeans and or white Europeans, okay? And the reason why I said that is because I wanted to point out the fact that that signal is often convoluted and smoothed into the European ancestry pie graph that you often see here. This European pie graph is what they often show to mentally and psychologically subjugate Black Americans, at least in my opinion, okay? Because just like I pointed out in the prior presentation, is that Black Americans have an ancestral component that is Levantine already a part of their genome naturally and independent of contemporary Europeans. Now let's get back to Cheddar Man and the scientific data about Black Europe. So actually I missed something here. The one particular thing that I wanted to point out and I wanted to make sure that I made clear is the fact that Cheddar Man is and was a Western hunter-gatherer is what they were considering him. Now, contemporary Europeans descend from three population groups. The indigenous population group, which was this guy. And then they mixed in, or their genome was overridden by later groups such as early European farmers and steppe populations, okay? But here, as you can see, the opening sentence or paragraph reads, Analysis of 348 genetic samples taken from 34 countries revealed that across prehistoric and ancient Europe, 63% of people had dark skin, 29% had an intermediate skin, and only 8% had light skin. Now, those who wish to ambiguate this will say, oh, these were just people who were mixed. They were, just tan because of, UV exposure and so forth and so on. I'm going to nip that in the bud. And this is where it becomes non-subjective, okay? So here, the geneticist, and this is the second study, also published in 2025, it says here that they took 348 samples between the period of 45,000 to 13,000 years ago. And all of them showed dark skin complexion with only one as an exception, and that was an intermediate skin pigmentation. Let's move on. And this is them explaining what they saw and encountered in their experiment in the Mesolithic period in Europe. And they found that 11 out of 35 samples show light eye phenotype. These light eye traits were primarily found in samples from Northern and Western Europe, with dark hair and skin remaining dominant. Light skin tones first appeared in Mesolithic Sweden, but remain rare. And here it explains as early up to 1700 years ago, the dark pigmentation remained common in Europe. It also explains down here that pigmentation changes appear to have been driven primarily by migration. So if you remember the observations by Benjamin Franklin, this aligns perfectly. Because as you can see here, light skin was nearly as frequent as dark skin, particularly in Northern and Central Europe. However, dark pigmentation remained common in regions such as Italy, Spain, and Russia. Didn't Benjamin Franklin say that in his observations? You don't want to listen to the man? You think he meant something else? But here, as you can see, the people change pigmentation due to a specific variant called SLC 2485. So non-subjectively, they can't carry lighter skin without this variant. So what Benjamin Franklin said is what he said. Peace.